Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Gemini, Sun, Moon and Descendant for the month of November. I hope you're well. I'm using the no I'm not, I'm using the Wild Unknown deck today for you. And before I go any further, I would like to give a special mention to the two air sign ladies who came and spoke to me in Hyde Park in London a couple of weekends ago, Pauline and Gina. They were very, very lovely. We had a lovely chat about a few things. And it was really nice because I had travelled for 3.5 hours down south and was met by people who knew me that I'd never met before, which was awesome. So, thank you. Let's have a look and see what's going on with you for November. Just 2 cards for Gemini, please. There's the first one. Got the Three of Swords in your recent past. Oh, sort of flown out together. Oh gosh, we've got a number of cards here. I'm not going to take all of these, but what we have is the Three of Wands, the Empress and the Moon, which I really, really like actually. Do you know what? Fuck it, we'll take it actually. Yeah, that's fine. So the Three of Wands, the Empress and the Moon. The Empress and the Moon are the cards of Taurus, for me anyway, and Cancer also for me, respectively. Let's have a look and see what's coming towards Gemini, please. We have the Five of Wands in reverse. That's interesting. So, Seven of Cups on the bottom of the deck here, followed by the World and the Star and Justice. That's very interesting, Gemini. Right, let's have a look, get some clarifiers and see what this all means. So, where's the Three of Swords here for Gemini, please? Oh. We have the Chariot, another card of Cancer coming out for you there. That's the Three of Swords here. There. Let's have a look. We have the Ace of Swords. That's your ace as an air sign. So it's always welcome to see. I might pull some more clarifiers for that actually. Three of Wands, the Empress and the Moon. Why are these here for Gemini, please? Oh. We have the Queen of Swords. That's Libra energy, but your Queen. And the Two of Wands. I think given that we've got 3 cards there, I'm going to put another clarifier for that. We've got the Moon again to clarify the Moon. That's very interesting. And what about the Five of Wands in reverse? Oh, thank you. We have the Magician. That is Gemini energy. There. Wanted 1, got 2. We've got the Ten of Cups. And we have the King of Pentacles, which is Taurus energy. Right, let's have a look down here. So at the bottom of the deck, we've got the Devil, which is the card of Capricorn in the Major Arcana, followed by the Three of Cups and the Hermit. The Hermit is Virgo energy. Given that we've got the Moon appear twice here, and we've got the Ace of Swords and the Queen of Swords, I'm going to hedge my bets on the Hermit energy being yours, actually. But we will come back to those. I'm going to look at them just yet. Just because I think they're going to be more relevant later on. So, the first card that you've got is the Three of Swords, and it's quite a visceral scene. And we all understand what the meaning of the Three of Swords is. It refers to heartbreak of some description, right? And the depictions often vary between something that is very visceral, and there are literally swords through a heart, and we all know how that feels when that hits, to something that has a bit more of an aged quality about it. It's past wounds, past hurts. You know? This one I feel sort of straddles somewhere along between the two, because there is no heart depicted here, but there is blood rolling down the blades of the sword, and it's all tied up together. And this is what I think is kind of important about this, because it seems like rather than you being hurt in the recent past, because I don't think that that's what this is referring to at all. I think that you are getting an understanding of perhaps where you have lumped together a few things that have hurt you and kind of tied them up with each other and kind of made them one and the same, even though they may be different. I hope that makes sense. So I kind of have this arbitrary rule, sort of come from years of reading lots and lots of tarot decks, that generally speaking, swords down are bad and swords up are good, right? Swords up talk about truth and justice and integrity and honor and, you know, all those kinds of things, right? Clarity. When they're facing down, we're talking about deception and lies and all those kind of things. If the three swords there together, like minus the heart, it feels like revelation, actually, is what it feels like. It feels like an understanding that you have, say, perhaps lumped some things together, but the absence of the heart is bothering me on this card, right? It's like you've been wounded by something that wasn't actually I don't want to say directed at you, because I kind of think that it has been. But it's more like you understand that there is no sense in being wounded by this thing, but yet you are still holding onto it in some way. I'll get another clarifier for that before I proceed, because what was my postie knocking there? Three of Swords. Got the Three of Swords again to clarify, right? And there is a heart on that one, there's a big one. So it does not feel to me like you've experienced some sort of very recent, very painful event. This feels like reflection on a painful event that has occurred at some point in the past that you have somehow got some sort of insight into, right? That's what I'm seeing here. Two together, right? So we have the Empress and we have Strength. That's Taurus for me. It can also be Libra and Leo, respectively. If you have been dealing with either one of those, then all the good. But if not, it seems like it could potentially be issues with your mother that you have been working through here a little bit. And that's certainly true for some of you. For others of you, it's been about a process of stripping the things away, you know? So maybe what you've done here is actually just removed your heart from that, right? You've taken all the swords out of the heart, you've kind of tied them up, bundled them up together and put them to the side in order to let your heart heal, because what we have here is growth, right? And what we have here is new things coming into the world, right? So whether it's to do with your mother, that's one aspect of it, or whether it is, you know, because you are now consciously cultivating your own spiritual growth, right? Because that's what these two say to me here, like consciously cultivating something really, really beautiful. And we have the Chariot and the Ace of Swords as the other clarifiers, just when I was finding my feet with what all this meant. And the reason that the taking the swords out and putting them to one side feels relevant here to me is because we've got this card of Cancer here, the Chariot card, which talks about victory and it talks about forward movement in some way. Now, somebody who is stuck in a Three of Swords energy is not going anywhere. They're just not, because they're too wounded to continue. And until they've pulled that out and looked at it and processed it, accepted it, and then moved on, right? You know, well, not even moved on. Till they've done all of those things, they cannot really thoroughly move on. But we've got movement here, right? So it seems like a past analysing. Maybe you've been using the retrograde energy for Scorpio, actually. The Mercury retrograde in Scorpio energy. It goes direct today, thank fuck, because it's been doing my nutting. And that is a really, really good use of the energy, because that is about really plumbing the depths of the old hurts and kind of bringing them to the surface. But we've got new insights here. We've got you thinking very clearly, seeing very clearly how all of this has in some ways held you back, because, you know, there's something about this revelation that has released you, enabled you to move forwards in some way. And I do get a sense of acceptance of this with these two here. You know, with these two cards here, there is acceptance that what has happened, and as a result, you have kind of moved on from that. Whenever I see this card, I always like it says Reiki to me. You know, maybe you've been engaging in some sort of spiritual modalities in order to help you through what it is that you've identified. Now, you know, accept and release and move on, because that's what I'm seeing here, right? There is a new understanding, a new set of thought patterns, a new emotional understanding of yourself. Because the thing I like about the Chariot card in the Llewellyn deck is that the Chariot is being pulled by two horses, and they're going through the water, but the one on the left is so much in the water that he looks to be of the water, right? So what it is that's driving you forwards is emotional, right, in nature. Something that you have a new understanding of, and something that is leading to your spiritual growth. Now, like I've said before, Gemini energy has felt actually pretty shimmery to me recently. And that's not to say that you don't have difficult or challenging situations, but there's a novel approach, novel for you at least in the last few months, that you are taking to these things now. And rather than allowing yourself to slide back into the feeling of wounding and hurt, it's like you can look at it more objectively now, without introducing your heart back into the mix, right? The heart is here, it's safe, and now you can look at all of these things that you've kind of bundled together and see what the lessons are in there, because a lot of you are looking for the lessons, for sure. Now, when we get into your current energy, this is really interesting. Remember, we had these three cards all plop out together. And we have the Three of Wands, the Empress again, and the Moon. Yeah? And the first thing that I felt when I saw these cards was that you understand now that the things that you need to grow and move forwards and create new things for yourself are all contained in the dark. You know, talked about this kind of shimmery, elevated energy that I've been feeling for Gemini for a couple of months now, right? You've been working through a lot of things. I think that you're currently in a situation of working through things, because what we've got with the Three of Wands is somebody who is actively doing something in the present, right? This is no longer kind of just an internal concern, right? This is about shifting the way that you live your life now. And you know, because we have the Two of Wands, which literally actually came out in the clarifiers for these three cards right now. That's underneath there. The Two of Wands is crossroads energy. So, you know, you can go this way or you can go this way. When you're in Two of Wands energy, you're kind of walking it through in your head, right? Well, what is the logical consequence of me going this way over this way? You check out where you end up. And if that's somewhere that you want to go, then you take that turning on the road, right? This is you travelling down that. This is you existing. This is you being in this energy. We've got this beautiful, you know, rainbow in the middle of all of this, right? You holding space, you holding light for other people is actually what I'm feeling really strongly here. And combine it with the Empress and the Moon, both of which appear multiple times now on the table, right? But isn't it interesting that the Empress is a dark scene? You know, with this tree all lit up from underneath, right? It feels like you are starting to be a beacon in the dark for other people, where you have done the work for yourself. Now you are living in such a way as to be able to hold space and be this beacon in the dark, you know. Maybe you are a practitioner of some description, right? We all know that, you know, when you train to be a counsellor or a therapist, you have to, you know, undertake to complete, you know, X number of hours of therapy or counselling before you can do it, right? You have to receive that which you want to give. And it feels like you've been doing your receiving, you've been doing your work, and now you're ready to give. You're expanding out into, you know, out into the world. In fact, both of these cards depict trees that are lit up under the moonlight, and the moon energy is high feminine, very high feminine energy. And it does, of course, talk about those things that are hidden from us, our subconscious, our non-conscious, all those kind of things, right? It seems like you have managed to pull into your consciousness sufficient understanding of X, Y, and Z. Like, I'm not going to be too specific because I feel like it will be different for all of you. But there's a real sense of you acting now as a real force for good in the world, you know? And it doesn't really matter if you don't have a huge platform to do that. There's, you know, I'm looking at these 3 wands here, and they've been just kind of tied together with a little bit of string, right? The tools that you have to hand to kind of tie these 3, you know, wands together is sufficient to create this beautiful rainbow sparkly place in the middle. But absolutely none of it is avoiding or ignoring or walking away from the dark things, right? It's you being out in the world and shining your light and saying, come to me, I can help you. This is how it feels to me, very, very strong. So what we with excitement, whenever I get the 2 of Wands, or sometimes the 2 of Swords as well, it feels like an either or to me. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. And I felt compelled to pull another card here. And what we've got is this Queen of Swords, which is intellectual, cerebral, quite rational energy. And then we've got the Moon here. Now, rather than it feeling like an either or to me, like it does sometimes, this feels more like a conscious decision, as we have here with this Queen of Swords, that you can choose to help people, right? I'm looking at the fact that she's got this crystal ball in her hand here, right? And she's kind of looking out and obviously, you know, she's trying to work out the future and all that kind of thing. But the 2 spheres on the cards are not lost on me at all, right? We've got somebody looking into a crystal ball with the sun in the background. The sun for me is consciousness. And then we have a card that speaks about the subconscious, the non-conscious, the unconscious, right? The dark stuff. And then we have this Air Queen here. Right? So queens are receptive for sure, but a couple of the queens are more active than others, and I would say the Swords and Wands queens, kind of the Wands queen, the Queen of Wands kind of moves around physically more. She's much more active and much more energetic, but there's something quite mentally dexterous here about this, and that is something that you are, Gemini, mentally dexterous. It looks like a very conscious, rational decision to do this. It's not like you just suddenly woke up one day and decided you were a witch and that's what you were going to do, although for some of you that might well have been the thing, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. This feels more like I am so far down this road with myself and the things that I have been working through personally, that I now realise that I'm quite far ahead of other people, and I can kind of set up a little like way station here, you know, and set a beacon up and get people to come towards me. There's something that you're doing, and it feels potentially small at this point, but with the capacity to grow very large, you know. So if you are practicing modalities, maybe some of you are setting up businesses, to do it professionally. For others of you, it is literally just with the people that you know, holding space for them. This is fascinating. It's really, really interesting. So the final card that you've got is the Five of Wands, but it came out in reverse. Now, when it's this way up, it talks about conflict. It talks about things, that point where passion kind of spills over into its shadow and it becomes aggression and, you know, such things. Sometimes it can just be, you know, petty, passive-aggressive, you know, snarking at each other. But it can be right the way up to something, you know, a bit more difficult. And interestingly enough, actually, the combination of these two cards here, the Devil and the Five of Wands, can sometimes indicate domestic abuse. Now, I don't think that that necessarily applies for the most of you here at all, because this card came out in the reverse, right? So if we pull it apart, you've got the Wands. I'm talking about, you know, the aggression and all that kind of thing. But it's also numbered a 5, right? So this is a shift in energy somewhere. All 5s indicate shifts, and it's usually uncomfortable shifts in some way. But it's come out here. So this could be conflict with other people, or it could be internal conflict with yourself. The fact that you're coming out of it here means to me that it could well indicate doubt. Some sort of doubt that you've had. Although you felt like you were on the right path, somewhere there's been a little smattering of doubt come in. But you see, the more I look at these cards, the more there are lots of indications that some of you are looking to do this professionally, right? We've got the Ten of Pentacles there underneath the Hermit. And we also have the King of Pentacles down here. This feels like for some of you, for quite a few of you, you are contemplating putting what it is that you can do naturally, or whether you've trained yourself to do it, on some sort of professional footing, right? And that could be astrology, it could be Reiki, it could be tarot, it could be pendulum work, any kind of energy work whatsoever, counselling, therapy. All of these things fall under the umbrella of this. It is, in essence, something that helps other people, but it's directly related to previous experiences that you've had, previous woundings, previous hurts. The thing is, there has been somewhere a bit of an element of doubt in there, and I see you losing that for November. You're shuffling it away, right? Because the most stabilizing thing that you can do to a 5, any card numbered a 5, is just to flip it around, right? Certainly in the minor arcana anyway, not so much in the major arcana. And there's something quite magical occurring as a result. We've got you as the magician, right? And I really like you turning up like this, because this is a card of manifestation, yes, but this is a card of you putting into practice, you know, that which you intend, right? Got all of the tools that you need, and it seems increasingly that you understand that that is the case, right? But it's matched up with the Ten of Cups and the King of Pentacles, so this is fascinating. Because here you are with all of this manifesting power that you have in the month of November, right? The elimination of doubt, all these tools that you could possibly need. And then what you have is emotional fulfillment, but also the ability to take care of you and yours, right? You've gone straight to the top of the pentacle hierarchy there, and straight for the king. Now, this is somebody who shows up. This is somebody who feels a sense of duty, a sense of responsibility to people, right? And that's not something that he feels resentful or anything even remotely about. Like this person wants to provide, and I think that you want to provide something for people around you, and it's a really pure expression of who you are, because here you are showing up really authentically in your own reading, very powerfully in your own reading. This is amazing. I kind of want to just pull one more card, actually. Oh, okay. Death. we've got the Fool at the bottom of the deck. And this is something new for you. This is something that you haven't tried before. Right? But the way forward is blessed, it seems to me, right here. We've got the Death card. Now, it's really interesting. When I did a live stream at the weekend, we actually ended up getting onto the subject of death doulas. And a number of people came through and said that was something that they were doing, or they knew somebody who was doing it. Right? So I want to throw that into the, you know, set of modalities that it's possible that you are looking at practicing, right? Because anything that helps souls pass over, even if it's just being sat with them when they go, right, it would definitely fall under this for me. But there's something inherently magical about what is starting to appear here with the Fool at the bottom of the deck, with the Magician, with the Death card, with the Moon card. This feels like you taking a personal experience that you've had, something that you found very, very difficult, and you have found a way to turn it around and make it into something that benefits other people. And that's profound, Gemini. That's really, really profound. Moreover, the energies that are supporting you are intense, to say the least. I think for a lot of you, this has started off as a kind of little, like it was just a thought that popped into your head at some point, and you kind of talked it down and went, no, don't be silly, you know. How could I possibly do that? But it's taken root inside you somewhere, and it's growing, and the pull that you feel from it is becoming more and more insistent, to the point where the only thing really that's been holding you back all of this time is the little niggle of doubt that you are not able to do it, not qualified to do it, you know, X, Y, Z. Kind of things that your brain has thrown into the road to try and stop you from putting your neck out here. But I think bit by bit that voice is going to get drowned out by the noise of the urge to do what it is that you're doing. This is really interesting. I'm going to go over to Vimeo now and start pulling this apart a little bit. So if this is something that has resonated with you, there's a link down in the description box there. Come over and join me. If not, no shade from me at all, and very much carry on with what you are doing, because this is important stuff. It's important work, and you feel it, and I can feel it for sure. And the world needs what you have to offer right now, Gemini. So know that I love you all very much, and hopefully I'll see you over at Vimeo.